Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in today. Welcome to It's Time for More Injury Funding Podcast. The podcast for all who want to learn about legal funding and its significance in the personal injury law, workers' compensation, stricken injuries, auto accidents, consumer-related products, traumatic brain injuries, and so many other types of law of practice domains. I'm your host, Laura, founder and CEO of More Injury Funding, the legal funding counselors with passion for law, medicine, legal funding, and heart for all suffering individuals. At More Injury Funding, we offer legal funding services to our clients who find themselves in a difficult financial situation after they've been injured. Those services include cash advances, medical treatment funding, post-settlement financing, case funding, and attorney financing. In today's episode, we chat with our very special guest, Kevin Weeks. The reason I say special is not just because he is a freelance paralegal, a man who is heavily involved and dedicated to GAP, which stands for Georgia Association of Paralegals, published writer of 4 award-winning small press crime fiction books, but also a mentor to the families who have a family member or a loved one who is or was incarcerated. Why does Kevin care so much about the incarcerated individuals? Because he himself spent 21 years in prison in Georgia, a Department of Corrections. Kevin Weeks is a board member of Justice Reform Partnership, member of GAP, and that of PEN America. Today, Kevin will share with us a few intimate details of his life story that is truly unique in every aspect. Author Kevin Weeks will talk about his inspiration for writing his urban crime fiction books, and also about his mentorship platform of those in prison and support through mentorship of their beloved families. At the end of our episode, I'll have a fun pop-up question for Kevin, as always.
I appreciate that. I look forward to that.
Very nice. But let me start our story about telling about Kevin's accomplishments that make him and his family proud. He has graduated with diploma of Paralegal Studies from Blackstone Career Institute in Pennsylvania. He is an urban crime fiction author and has received numerous awards from New York Hollywood, or NY Hollywood, and London Book Festival over 10 years ago. The National Incarnation Association, which is NIA, has recently announced Kevin's position as a special project manager. He is also an active member of GAP for the last 7 years. Mr. Weeks has a first-hand experience with the criminal justice system and resigned in Forsyth, Georgia. To add to his colorful resume and to balance it all out, Kevin is also an avid e-bike rider. When it comes to riding his electric bike, Mr. Weeks' story directly relates to legal funding. So Kevin, welcome to It's Time for More Injury Funding Podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be here and to partner with you. And it is a blessing to be here.
It's so good to have you. And how does personal injury relate to your story? Let's start with that.
Okay, more injury funding has helped me with a series of dry needling sessions at Benchmark, the physical therapy, which allowed me to start healing my injuries, my injured shoulder.
Okay.
That injury was caused by a fall on a slippery path while riding my electric bike. It enabled me to get better and continued assisting lawyers in the capacity of my paralegal, being a freelance paralegal. So you got to move your arms. Okay, I got it.
Absolutely. Very well, Kevin. Thank you so much. So today, Kevin will talk about how his personal life experience has a direct effect on how he directly and tirelessly contributes to the legal system, to his community, and most importantly to his clients who have or still are incarcerated for various crimes. Kevin, let's start with maybe a difficult topic to talk about, and that is, what lessons did you take from the time spent locked up?
One of the main lessons that I learned, I took with me, was always do what you always did, and you will always get what you always got. So you can apply that to either to a good aspect or to a bad aspect. And even in, as an example, me riding my e-bike, and I rode on slippery when it was wet, or it just got finished raining and it was still wet. So always do what you always did. And I fell the first time, so if I go on there again, I always do what you always did, and I slip and fall, you always get what you always got. So, you can apply it to yes. various things, in life. And I like to apply it to a lot of things. And even when making decisions and what companies or what agencies I want to go with to help me out with my injuries. So I always do what you always did, make wrong decisions, always get what you always got. So I made a good decision by partnering with more funding and helping me out. And coming from doing 21 years within the Department of Correction in the state of Georgia, you have to have a different mindset. So me the first time that the handcuffs was put on me for the beginning for the crimes that I had committed, I made a decision right then and there, re-entry. I made a decision right there that I was not going to leave the same way that I came in. So here again, always do what you always did. You always get what you always got. So that was where it all started. It all started there.
Okay.
And I knew that I wanted to be successful, and not just viewed as a person that had done prison time within the state of Georgia.
Okay, very good. So how did this time shape your perspective on the criminal justice system?
Well, while doing time, due to the fact that the system does not provide you with the proper education to be sustainable when you get out. I had to make a decision. I said, they say that crime does not pay, but I'm seeing all of these classes, that MRT classes, more recognition thinking classes, cognitive behavior classes. I'm seeing all these classes being implemented, but the classes that they're implementing were not being effective because the people weren't changing their mind state. So that caused me to think about, hey, what can I do to make a difference? First, I have to learn. Okay, I said I'm not going to work in nobody's warehouse. I have arthritis, so I just don't want to do that. So I said, you know what? Then I'm going to take the time. I'm going to do something that's going to keep my mind active and keep me moving. So I said, hey, let me be a paralegal. Let me try that. Let me see what classes are available to me in being a paralegal.
And that was, Kevin, my next question. So what motivated you to become a paralegal after your release?
Well, that's the thing, Laura. I became a paralegal before I was released.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I did. I through Blackstone, I got my diploma in 2017. And what propelled me to further pursue being a paralegal is me being associated with GAP, Georgia Association of Paralegals.
I love it.
They helped me. Cynthia Bynum embraced me. Joshua embraced me. The whole team, they embraced me, and even sharing my situation, and they were big on giving second chances. And that's what propelled me and wanted me to dig even deeper and to put my foot to the ground and to put in the work that needed to be done to be a paralegal here in the state of Georgia, being a convicted felon.
I love it. So, and that's where we met actually, through Georgia Association of Paralegals, not too long ago, and I was truly impressed by Kevin's story, which is absolutely unique and amazing. So, tell me, Kevin, how has your personal experience influenced your work in the legal field?
Well, my personal experience of doing time. When a person does time, you're in a secure environment. Everything's about security. So to me, I believe that there is no way that you can be around that much security and have to abide by security protocols, that you don't become security minded yourself. So me becoming security minded, I said, well, maybe I can use this, and me being a counselor aide, that was my primary detail. I was a counselor aide, and serving people, helping people, being able to provide a document. Why should a man be upset, or a staff member may not understand that all he needs is a document, but they don't have the time to go find this document. So this is where I intervene, and I seen the need that men incarcerated, they just need someone to care. And this is where I came in, and this is what a lot of guys, needed understanding on the rules and regulations and the policy and procedures that apply while doing time, because you have your border correction policies and procedures, and then under that you have your Georgia Department of Corrections policies and procedures that supersede what they call LOP, which is local operation and procedures. So a lot of men didn't understand these policies and how to fill out a grievance properly, so that you can get the request of what you're asking for in your grievance. So I became good at that, and that is what motivated me to continue to reach out and is personal with me, to be an advocate for ending mass incarceration, which I am associated with the multi-faith initiative, EMI, ending mass incarceration. So, I'm still reaching back and pulling through to help others out, and that's what motivated me, so I can be able to help others to understand how to break down the policies and how to understand the laws, and so that they can make sure that the right laws are applicable to them in their case and situation.
Absolutely. So let's move now a little bit towards your books, since you're a published, award-winning author. So tell me, as an urban crime fiction author, how do you draw inspiration from your own life experiences?
Well, had it not been for my first book, Is It Suicide or Murder, under the Streetlight series brand.
As one of these books.
Yes, these books right here. These books right here.
To our listeners, Kevin brought 4 of his books, by the way, beautifully illustrated. So we'll take some pictures later, and you can follow us and see them on the social media.
Thank you, Laura. I say that to every piece of art, may it be music, may it be drawing, may it be poetry, may it be a novel, may it be a nonfiction work. There is some truth. There's truth in that work from that artist's personal life. So how they implement that artwork is the question to reveal the truth. And in my work, yes, there is some truth, true aspects to the first story, to the second story, to the second series. And there's some fluff in it as well, and that's what propels the story forward. It's a fiction. It's a fiction work. So with that being said, there is a piece of everyone. Every artist has a piece of themselves in their work. Okay.
So tell me, how do you balance reality or realism with creative storytelling? Where's the balance?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you this. My mother probably laughed at this. When I was young, I had a thing with telling stories. I used to lie, and there was a story. I used to break dance, and I was real good, and I was invited to go to New York.
Oh wow!
But I was invited to go, and I wasn't supposed to go. I didn't get permission. I was like 15 or 16 years old, and I went anyway. And I came home, and called my mom and told my mom that somebody had kidnapped me, right? So
that's a good story right there itself.
And decided to let me go, right?
Well, that's another plot for your next book, okay?
Yeah. So my mom would laugh at that, right? So I used to tell stories. I had a very creative mind, and I started reading what the genre that came out called street lit, and the genre blew up. You know, Donald. Well, it started with Donald Goines. Okay. Donald Goines, Iceberg Slim. Those are the godfathers of what we would call street lit. Okay, giving respect to the genre.
Sure.
And then there's Sister Soldier, who's the coldest winter ever, giving respect. And so a lot of this work models behind them, and it is a stories of. This is a way that urban authors, colored, black, men and women, or let's say less fortunate, even white, could tell their story, their life story, because mainstreams, they weren't buying this. Simon and Schuster, they weren't buying this unless you came through a certain path. But for the average person, such as myself and you not being anybody, not having a traditional agent, they weren't accepting you in. So this was a way for us to break out to tell our story. And if you knew how to tell a story,
sure, then
you were successful. And I just thank God for the team that I had, because all of my novels have won awards. You know, I'm an award-winning writer, and I've won an award in London Book Festival award. I've never been to London in my life.
Oh, I was going to ask that next.
You know? so that's the blessing. You know, so that's how that started.
Okay. Very nice. Yeah.
It's interesting. I can go on. I'm gonna go on.
So now, can you, Kevin, share some insights into the process of writing award-winning crime fiction?
Well, okay. See, the difference is when I came into the scenery or the era of writing street lit, then it moved from urban crime fiction. Well, I pegged or my team pegged the term urban crime fiction. Me being the CEO of the Street Life series. Writing, when you write, a book is never finished. There's always room for improvement, always. As I was sharing with some of the inspiring writers and young movie producers at the Black Writers Weekend, Lit Diaries last night, and I was sharing with them that your work, you know, it's a masterpiece when it's complete. It's always, you can always improve it. But if you have won awards or accolades or nominations on that book, then that book, you were giving those nominations and awards on the presentation of that book at that time. So if that was good enough then, it should be good enough now.
You would think.
You would think, you know, and it is. So I'm not going to change anything to my books. I'm just going to enhance the artwork and maybe get some better digital graphics done on the cover to enhance the artwork and continue to keep it as it is, because even you even stated how you like the artwork, and which I'm sure we're going to talk about.
Absolutely. Okay, very interesting. Tell me, what elements do you believe make a compelling and successful story in this genre?
Wow. Well, Lord, that is a loaded question. But the elements that make a believing and compelling story is you one, you have to be able to allow your readers to know that you're going to give them what they're looking for. Because the first thing, a book is judged by its cover. Because you look at the back of it, you look at the front of it. And to make sure that there's three things that you have. You have a great opening. You have a what I would call a compelling mid-climax.
Okay.
And then you have a awesome climax ending. So those three. And what I call those three is you have your first point, your second point, and your third point. Anything in between that is what I call fillers.
Okay.
So when I write a story, I already know what my ending wants to be. I already know what it should be, what I want. I know what the middle part is, and I know how to start off. So in the beginning, in the middle part, it's like a roadmap. I have to reach those points.
Okay.
So those are the elements.
Okay, I love it. Very nice. So tell me, Kevin, how do you navigate the fine line between shedding light on the realities of urban crime and potentially perpetuating negative stereotypes or glamorizing criminal behavior?
I'm glad you asked me that.
I know you wanted to answer this question so badly.
I'm so glad you asked me that. My novels, I don't glamorize the street life. Though it's called the Street Life series. It's called the Street Life series because the main character, Tico Jackson, he goes through different series of life while in the streets or while living in the streets. So I try to mix a little bit of the police aspect. I draw from actual cases in the language, and then I allow that professional character to talk the language, and also I'm dropping some legal knowledge that's actually true.
Okay.
So that's how I do that. So I have fun with both sides of the matter. You know, I have Tico who comes from the streets and comes from doing crime, and he changing his mind state and want to live a different life and trying to change his life, but for some reason with Tico, that what he calls the street reaper just tries to bring him back into the lifestyle that he used to live. You know, so I don't want to give too much about the story yet, but it's something in his past, someone in his past that's just taking down the people in his crew. So he has to change the way that he thinks, and that's what I try to implement in my story. Okay.
And is Tico in all of your 4 books, or is he in one particular book only?
Tico is the series, the Street Life series. All my books ask a question. So far it's 3. I have the 4th one that's finished. The first one, is it suicide or murder? And it asks the question, when you live in the street life, are you committing suicide on yourself, or are you committing murder on yourself?
Okay.
Then the second one, is it passion or revenge? So when you're in a situation, or you're in some type of relationship with someone, and is it out of passion that you're doing this person wrong, or is it out of revenge?
Interesting. I love it. It's getting exciting here. All right. So tell me, Kevin, have you faced any challenges or criticism as a formerly incarcerated person pursuing a career in the legal field and writing crime fiction?
No, I have not. Actually, I have not received any criticism that I'm aware of.
Okay.
That I am aware of, and you know, and I will tell people, I've served my time. I'm on no probation, no parole. I voted. I'm a tax-paying citizen, and all I want is relief from the collateral consequences that we're faced with, and that's something I'm fighting, you know, within myself, and trying to figure out how to bring to the legislators in the state of Georgia that you know, collateral consequences hinder us.
So what message or themes do you hope to convey through your writing? Is there one particular theme? Is there a
Yes,
series of themes?
yes. As I said earlier, always do what you always did, and you will always get what you always got.
What if you want to change that? Can that be changed in your mind or in your books?
What, my theme?
Yes, so you're saying always
yes.
do what you always did, and you will always get what you always got.
Exactly.
So if you want to change that behavior, do you think the outcome will be different?
Well, see, that's why I said that phrase can go to a negative or a positive. So if, like as an example, you have a son.
Yes.
Okay. And if your son continues to do positive and continue to do what he's supposed to do and listen and mind his parents and don't think that he knows everything and stays away from the negative friends who you have recognized that him being negative, his father's recognized being negative, but he hasn't, but he listens to you. Always do what you always did, and you always get what you always got. But then if he was one of those children, if your son was one who didn't listen to you and got good parents, and he still, you're still telling him what to do correctly, but he thinks he knows it all. So you can apply that to the negative and the positive.
Okay.
You see
Sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
So that's why, I speak that, and it's not one-sided. It's not one-sided at all. You can apply that to everything. If I'm in the business world, or if I'm as a paralegal, if I just sat back and didn't do anything and just wait for something to come to me in the mail through me reading the daily reports that I read, then that's what I'm gonna get. Always do what you always did, and you always get what you always got. But no, people embrace me. Cynthia embraced me. Gap embraced me, and they sent me the invitations to come to different events. And in doing so, I went to the events to be a part of, to be a part of. Them showing me that no, just because you went through that does not define who you are. You are a paralegal. You have served what you needed to serve, and you've done what you needed to do. You have the education. So therefore, why not should you move forward as a paralegal?
Absolutely. So how do you use your platform as a published author of many urban crime fiction books to address social issues related to crime and justice?
I try to bring events. Like during my first book, I talk about an era called the Move members. In Philadelphia, during that time, Mayor Wilson Goode dropped a bomb on a housing complex at Osage Avenue, where they called them the Move members. And during that time, I didn't really understand what the Move members or what they were about, but later come to understand during my research that it was a movement of what people are fighting for today. And that is to be able to say that I'm African and I don't have to accept the lifestyle of the ways of being in America today and diversity. So I put those things of history in my books to bring awareness. So that's how I do that.
Very nice. Can you share any memorable experiences or encounters you've had while working as a paralegal or during your writing career? If you can give us just like maybe one example.
Yes. I had a case against a Fulton County sheriff for an illegal, unconstitutional strip search. And that case went to court. And I did prevail against them in summary judgment while I was incarcerated, which is something that's very honorable to do. And all I was asking for is my day in court and not be in a prison environment or come from prison or come from a cell. So it allowed me to have that day in court. I did not win, but to me I did win because I had my day in court, and it was a jury. A jury decided, and I'm not upset at all, because the jury decided, and they decided in favor for the defendant. And I had my day, and that was all I wanted, was to be able to have my day. So that was a time that's memorable, and I know how to prevail against in a summary judgment. So that was very, 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 very impactful.
So what advice would you give to aspiring writers, especially those who may have faced similar challenges or experiences as you have?
Okay. and some of the experiences and the challenges, Lord, the challenges are daily. The challenges are daily, but I don't take no for an answer. When the rules or the policies tell me that there's a way, and that I have access to something, or so I don't let those things hinder me.
Okay.
I overcome them. My writing my books is my stepping stone to me being a paralegal.
I love it. Okay.
So that being a stepping stone, then I allow that and me being a paralegal to be the stepping stone for me to be a motivational speaker.
I love it.
You see, so this is how I'm able to go inside of the court system in the Cobb County and to do motivational speaking to give back. Okay.
All right, that's great. So now let's shift focus for a moment from the book writing to the mentoring, as you mentioned, of those incarcerated and their families. How do you advocate for the rights and well-being of incarcerated individuals and their families? Are there any specific initiatives or campaigns that you are involved in to bring about positive change?
Yes, there are. NIA, National Incarnation Association. National Incarnation Association, NIA. What we do is, we triage cases. We help family members have understanding. As a special operations manager, I talk to the family member and the one that's incarcerated, and to help the family members. Family members have a lot of questions. People have a lot of questions into how an operation runs, how the prison structure runs. So they have to first, I ask them, are they able to separate themselves emotionally to the truth, to gain understanding, and then allow your understanding to balance with your emotions. So that's what we do at the NIA. That's what I try to do. That's what I call primary. My job is I try to bring understanding. For me, doing 21 years within the Georgia Department of Correction, and most of our cases are within the Department of Correction. So this is how I try to mend the two and keep the loved one informed. By writing them and if any changes in their situation, in their case, as being able to assist them in the reentry aspect. That's what we try to provide.
Okay. So what advice do you give to families who may be struggling with feelings of maybe guilt, shame, or isolation due to their loved one's incarceration? How do you help them cope with these emotions and find a sense of community?
Well, I'd like to first and foremost allow them to be able to reach out to me at any time.
That's great.
With any question.
And what's your best contact information while we at this?
Best contact information, you can reach me at info@kevinmweeks.com.
Info@Kevin M as Mary Weeks.com and
yes.
it's WEEKS.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And can they also call you, or email is better always?
Yes, they can email me. They can reach me on Facebook as well. You can message me. I'm at Kevin in weeks,
Okay.
or you can also reach out to 470-758-9949. That's 470-758-9949.
Okay, very good. So tell me again, what advice would you give to these people, to these families going through all of these emotions?
Trust the process.
Okay.
Nothing happens overnight. Once you reach someone and you get someone to say yes, don't badger them. Be polite. Because no one likes agitation. So be polite. And a key that one of my coaches taught me is when you're calling someone, this is a key phrase. You ask them, can you help me to understand? Blah, 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 blah. No matter what the situation is, well, excuse me, ma'am, sir, can you please help me to understand blah, 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 blah. And put it back on them so that they can help you. And then you go from there to get the answers that you need. If they explain something, okay, help me understand, how do I reach that section, or how do I reach that division? So that has always worked for me.
Okay. And what motivated you to become a mentor for families with incarcerated loved ones? How and why do you support and guide them through their own unique challenges and struggles?
Because I have children. And I'm just thankful that none of my children have been through the footsteps that I went through in my past. So, Lord, I like to talk. And I like to inspire. And if I can be used for God's purpose, to share aspects of my life, to hopefully touch an individual, and maybe something that I may say can spark something within them on not what to do or not how to do something. I have to teach them, this is how you not get in trouble versus how you get in trouble. It's easy for me to tell you how to get in trouble, but I want to share, let me tell you what you can do so you will not get in trouble.
And talking about this, that actually leads me to my follow-up question. So can you share any success stories or positive outcomes that you witnessed through your mentoring work? Talking about children, for instance.
Absolutely. I want to talk about a young man who I call, and he is my mentee. And his name is Oliver Grant Oliver. And he went through Judge Kelly Hill's Pinnacle Diversionary Court. And after he graduated from her program, he was hired as the court clerk, as one of the court clerks in Cobb County. That right there showed me success in her program.
That's amazing.
That showed me success. And this young man, Laura, I will, if you don't mind, I would like to forward you that picture of this young man, and we have lunch periodically, and I really like this brother, this young brother. I really like him because he could have went the other way, but there was, her program was there, and not only himself, but there are other young men and women whom I have come across who have successfully finished the program and have moved on in their lives. And my children, I'm very proud of my children. And I'm gonna say my grandson, here's an example of my grandson. He's in Reading, Pennsylvania. Elijah, how you doing? I love you, grandson. And there was a situation of him being in school, and these guys wanting to have an issue with him because he had his own swag. You know, they go through this at the time between the age of 14 and 16. Those are crucial areas for young men, very crucial, and women too, but young men are very crucial. And during this era was when he was going through something in school, and this was when you decide if you're going to be for the streets or if you're going to do something for yourself. And there was a weapon involved where someone threatened him, or they tried to jump him. So his mother took him out of school, and I supported her in that because I don't want my grandson to die to the streets for no reason. So he's not involved in any type of gangs or anything of that nature. He's just trying to be himself, and in the process, I shared with his mother that yes, he can get a job and go work in a fast food, but I've been there, and I don't want that for my grandson. I don't want that life for my grandson because I know that he's smart, he's educated, he has much more inspiration than just being that. Working in, not saying that there's nothing wrong with anyone that is serving the community that works in a restaurant. There's nothing wrong with that. But I didn't want that for my grandson. I didn't want that to be a dead end, him falling out of school. So that was the key why I didn't want that for him. So I encouraged him. I said, you need to go to Job Corps. To make a long story short, he did go to Job Corps. He's in Job Corps, away from home. He's doing good. Just informed me that he just got his GED. So I'm proud of that, and he got his GED. So now he wants to talk about me going half on him with a card, which I promised him. So I got to do the pop thing.
I love it. What card is your grandson dreaming about?
Yeah, exactly. So that was the situation, and I shared with him. I had FaceTime, and I cried with him to let him know that I don't want you doing the things that I did in life to survive, and being disrespectful towards the law, and no one taught me how to be a productive citizen in society. And there's a difference in being told to be a productive citizen than being taught to be a productive citizen. And I believe that young men need to be taught nowadays.
And do you talking about teaching the young generation to do the right thing, follow law, listen to parents? Do you talk now about your books? Is there a lesson to be learned from your books when it comes to education or showing the right example?
Yes. That's why my books ask a question. Each one always. Sorry. The question is asked is it or? Is it suicide or murder? Is it rags or riches? So I'm always asking a question, and there's always a quote in the back of my book.
Okay.
And it's this one. The first one is always do what you always did, and you always get what you always got. So there's always a question. And then there's my youth edition. The youth edition is the Entangled in Freedom series. The Entangled in Freedom is about the African Americans that fought in the Civil War, and the credit that hasn't been given to them in honoring them. We received I co-authored, that's why I said I co-authored it with Ann DeWitt, and she's from North Carolina, I'm from Philadelphia. So it was like a Yankee and a Southerner coming together and putting this masterpiece together. And we received a Bonnie Blue Society Award from the Sons of Confederate, and Mom's Choice Award, Moonbeams Award. So the accolades are there for the foundation of the books, and it stands on its own away from Tico Jackson and that series under the Streetlight series brand. So it's a character of his own, Isaac, and I don't want to give that. I really don't want to talk about that one. That one right there is faction fiction, and faction fiction means that it is a little bit of trueness, history, mixed in with some fiction, some true facts and history. And that book has pictures in it. It has actual slave pictures, the pictures of a slave as proof that there were African Americans that did fight and they were enlisted in the Civil War. and they tried to bring a disclaimer that there were no African Americans that fought in the Civil War. But like that book right there, Taking Freedom, brings the truth out that there were more than just one or two, and they weren't just cooks that fought in the Civil War.
That's beautiful. So Kevin, now, between your published books, between your, own incarceration or time spent away, and now you're being a freelance paralegal, and right now this weekend you're in this beautiful book festival here in Atlanta, in downtown Atlanta. You can tell probably a little bit more about that. But with all of this, and your mentoring of these families of incarcerated people, just dealing with the feelings, helping them out, how do you overall measure that impact of your support on the families that you work with? Was there a measure at all? I mean, can you measure that?
Yes. Because people want to know, what you're saying, does it work? What you're doing, what you're writing, is it impactful? Is it telling a story? Is it compelling enough for me to finish the whole? Are you worth me coming to? I received an invite from you speaking. Is it worth me coming to hear you speak? So coming from doing 21 years and coming up on my first year, so people or individuals want to know, I'm hearing this name, but I've never seen him. Where did he come from? So me going again and over repeatedly to these pinnacle courts, and these young men and women are smiling and seeing me say, I'm glad to see you. I'm glad you came back. And Laura, one time there was a young man, I'm not going to reveal his name, but there was a young man who needed some assistance. He needed someone to talk to. So the attorney that's over the program with Judge Kelly Hill called me and asked me would I talk to this young man, and he needed someone to talk to. So I stopped doing what I was doing to assist this young man, because people say hit me up on speed dial. You tell people when you give them your card, how you doing, I'm Kevin Weeks, and so forth and so on, and call me if you need me. That's what we say. Call me if you need me. So are you willing to stop doing what you're doing from your daily life to assist someone, to serve, and to aid this individual? Because you never know what state this person might be in mentally, and emotionally, you don't know. So that's a situation that I don't remember, and just by you asking me this, it's only because how I remember, but other than that, I don't remember. I don't keep a calculation of things like that. I don't write that down in a book and say, such and such today, because that's personal to me, and that's personal to that individual, and that's not something that I calculate. But when I see them again and say, man, I'm going to give you a hug, that's how I measure my effectiveness in that way.
That's beautiful. And so, we kind of went through how to reach you, but then, so we maybe can repeat that. So if anyone has any questions about incarceration, or wants to learn more about Georgia Department of Corrections, or is curious about do's and don'ts while being in prison, or wants to learn how to properly write urban crime fiction, or to know where to purchase any of your 4 books, how can they reach you, Kevin? And I know you already gave your telephone number and your email address, but is there a website specifically for your books, or can you just go over your contact information once again?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to say this and be clear that as a paralegal, that we are bound not to provide any legal advice that is for an attorney. And so I will firstly ask that you please not send any questions concerning any legal matters. But I am more than willing to provide you with legal information, because that is what we provide. We provide legal information, and I can give you a guide into where you can get the professional advice from. But yes, you can reach me first on Facebook, Kevin M. Weeks. You'll see me there with a tie on, with a red tie or blue tie. You can reach me at also on Instagram, Kevin_M_Weeks, WEEKS, and also the streetlifeseries.com. That is thestreetlifeseries.com for my books, or you can go up under KevinMWeeks.com, KevinMWeeks.com. Or you can reach me an email at info@kevinmweeks.com, info@kevinmweeks.com. And phone number, you can reach me at 470-758-9949. That's 470-758-9949. 9949.
Okay.
Yes. Numbers.
We're going to write this down. Well, this concludes our amazing story told so honestly by our guest Kevin Weeks today. I know I personally learned, I actually have so many more questions to you, Kevin, but our time has run out, and we may need to revisit or talk about the urban crime fiction writing as well as mentoring of the incarcerated people and their beloved families at another time and space. However, as promised, before I let you go, Kevin, I have one pop-up question for you. You ready?
Okay, yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So if you could give one piece of advice to your previous boss, what would it be?
If I can give advice to my previous boss, what would it be? My advice would be willing to allow others' ideas become a part of the growth of the company.
Okay, wonderful. I applaud you for that. I love that. That's so great, Kevin. Again, thank you so much for being my very special guest. It's time for More Injury Funding Podcast. I want to thank all of my listeners and viewers for the story. For more tips and tricks, please follow me at Legal Funding. For actually any legal funding and personal injury law related topics, follow me and like and subscribe at More Injury Funding. And it's time for More Injury Funding Podcast on Spotify, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, Yelp, Google Business Profile, as well as Amazon Music, iHeart, and any other podcast platforms, major platforms in the world. And also follow me on my website at www.moreinjuryfunding.com, more with 2 O's. I can't wait to see you all, my dear listeners, at my next upcoming episode. Tune in soon for our next guest. Until then, be well. Thank you.
Thank you.